Picture your bank account the morning after a paycheck clears. You have enough, not enough for everything you want, perhaps, but enough. Now picture it 6 months later, after a job change, medical bill, and bad month. The number is different, and so are the food in your kitchen, how you get to work, and whether you answer the phone. Being broke is not one moment. It is a sequence of losses until small things become the hardest decisions. The important change is not only the money available, but the choices that money can still protect. The story moves from deciding what would be nice to have, to what can safely wait, to which consequence is possible to live with. Marcus is a single father who works full-time and raises his son. Nothing about his story is unique, and that is the point. These levels are not official government categories or a ranking of people. They organize how financial hardship can escalate through daily life, as ordinary problems stop being ordinary. They do not describe every household in the same order. They follow the shrinking margin in one life. The question is not whether Marcus makes the perfect decision, but what happens when every decision has a cost, and that cost changes tomorrow's choices. The first level barely registers as a crisis. Marcus is spending slightly more than he brings in, so he cuts the extras: streaming subscriptions, weekday takeout, concerts, and weekend trips. The changes are easy to make. The subscription disappears in 2 taps, and the takeout habit ends with a grocery run. What is harder to account for is what those things provided. Friday delivery was the one moment he did not have to plan. Streaming was how he and his son watched something together after homework. When they disappear, the days do not get shorter. They get quieter in a way that costs something, even though no bill went unpaid. Marcus still has control. He is making choices and the money responds, but he loses parts of life that made ordinary days worth having. Wanting them back cannot restore them. That is why the first cut misleads. A budget shows expenses removed, but it records time, relief, connection, and spontaneity only indirectly. The money has not become secure. It has become committed to more urgent uses, narrowing the life the next level must protect. The next level arrives without announcement. Cutting the extras did not solve the problem, and nothing discretionary remains. What is left cannot be negotiated. Rent, utilities, car insurance, gas, groceries, school supplies, and one daily prescription. The question changes from "what can I stop enjoying?" to "which essential can wait longest?" Marcus lays out the bills to decide their order. He asks which has the longest grace period, which utility cuts service first, and which creditor calls the most. The calendar becomes tactical. He marks due dates, matches them to paychecks, and knows how many days remain before the electric company sends a final notice. This takes real mental work. It is not a personality trait or life skill gap. His expenses exceed his income, with no buffer to absorb the difference. Every automatic decision now requires calculation. Delaying an essential is not reducing pressure. It is choosing where the pressure will land first. The bill remains necessary. Its consequence simply moves forward on the calendar. Marcus's car needs a repair. A worn brake pad, the mechanic says, should not wait another week. It costs $260. Marcus has $140, and his son's inhaler refill is due in 3 days. Both choices carry a real cost. Marcus pays for the inhaler because his son needs it for school, and Marcus cannot drive him to the emergency room if the brakes worsen. He drives as little as possible and borrows a ride to work for 4 days until payday. The solution creates another cost. The borrowed ride adds 40 minutes each way, taking time from sleep, cooking, or helping his son with math. Because the repair waited, it now costs more. Small problems compound when they sit. This happened because he had $140 when he needed $260, not because of a reckless decision. People with a cushion face the same repair and lose an afternoon. For Marcus, it reorganizes the week. Neither option protects everything that matters. Paying for one need only determines which other one becomes risk, inconvenience, or delay. Hardship becomes visible, not because Marcus stops caring, but because 2 necessities still exceed what he can fund. The deepest loss is the ability to absorb an ordinary setback and return to normal within a day or 2. That ability disappears before most people realize they had it. 3 weeks after the brake situation, Marcus misses a shift. His son wakes sick at 5 in the morning, and his school will not take him. Marcus has no nearby family, no backup plan, and no paid sick leave for staying home. He calls in and loses the shift's pay. That loss pushes the electric bill into late fee territory. The $32 fee becomes $64 when it triggers an automatic overdraft, even though a sick child caused the original loss. Without a cushion, each problem meets consequences already set in motion. There is nothing to slow Marcus's fall. A cushion is more than untouched money. It can preserve a routine when something goes wrong, repairing instead of postponing, keeping a bill on schedule, or missing one obligation without disturbing several others. Without that flexibility, time becomes part of the payment through longer commutes, less sleep, postponed care, and constant attention to what might happen next. Pew Research Center data found that about 24% of single-father households were living at or below the poverty level, compared with 8% of married father households and 43% of single-mother households. Marcus is part of one of those groups, but the statistic does not describe navigating a Tuesday when the car repair is overdue, the prescription is almost gone, and payday is Thursday. The data shows where Marcus stands. His story shows what living there requires. A percentage can describe how many households are at or below a threshold, but not the order in which a parent pays bills, the time lost to a workaround, or the effort of choosing between needs. Context gives the category meaning. Daily routine shows its consequences. At the deepest levels, daily life looks ordinary from outside. Marcus wakes before his son and checks his account while coffee brews. He packs affordable, filling meals, makes sure his son is ready for school, and goes to work. In the evening, he handles avoided calls, rearranges what can be rearranged, and decides what to postpone. The car remains on hold, as does the dental visit, delayed 4 months. His son's new shoes may wait 2 more weeks. Marcus protects what cannot slip: school attendance, the prescription, and rent. Everything else is negotiated against time. Most weeks have no dramatic low point. He keeps calculating and holds on to every small buffer, such as an extra can of soup or gas saved by making 1 fewer trip because another expense will come. This is not incompetence. Marcus is using skills most people never have to practice under conditions with no room for error. At the beginning, planning helped him decide how to spend money. Now it is required simply to keep the day moving. Success looks like nothing happening. No missed school day, transportation interruption, or urgent bill. Stability has become something he manufactures through postponements and protected necessities. Marcus's path is not the only one. Different households face different triggers, but when the margin disappears, ordinary problems cannot stay ordinary. A repair can change a commute, a sick child can create a fee, and a delayed bill can remove money needed for the next decision. This is not a universal formula. It shows what changes as choices shrink. First the extras, then flexibility, then the ability to absorb a setback. Being broke is not one fixed experience or a single number. It is the point at which ordinary life becomes a series of high-stakes trade-offs. If this matches something you have lived, leave a comment below. What changed in your daily life? Subscribe for more honest, ground-level storytelling.